Hey everyone, it's Joe Duffy, and this video is for FFR trading, and we're going to do our outlook for 2024. And before we do that, we're going to review what we said for 2023. I'll cover the stock index I will cover the interest rate market, and I will cover my pick from last year and my one stock pick for the coming year. Okay, so excuse me, I am fighting still a bit of a cough. This is the monthly chart of the S&P 500, and these are my prop indicators here. Basically, we want to trade green long, and we want to trade red short. Okay, so this is a monthly, so it's very long term. I'm also going to look at the weekly. So if I switch to a weekly, it'll look like this. So you can see, green long, red short, green long. Okay, this one at the bottom here is my scoop indicator, basically. When you get these bottoms like this, where the histogram is above zero, the oscillator is below zero, those are your buys. So you had a buy here. You had a buy somewhere in here, which wasn't great, but it did give you certainly enough to make a profit on. You had a sell here, because now the histogram is below zero, and the oscillator is above turning down. You had a sell here. You had a sell here. And you've got to buy here. So that's on the weeklies, but it doesn't matter what time frame we use. I use the exact same thing to trade on 2-minute charts during the day. Okay, so let's go back to the monthly, which is our longer time frame. And we've got the S&P up here, so we'll start with that. Okay, so last year at this time, the S&P was right around in here. Okay, so we had just come off a nice buy signal, as you can see, but it was indeterminate what was going to happen. And my comment was, listen, it could easily, the real problem would start is if we rolled over at a lower high. And that certainly looked like it was going to happen here. That was by mid-year, July, August 2023, and we did have that pretty big correction. But now we've gone on to new highs. So what's the outlook based on this? Well, the only thing I can say right now is you can see how far do we deviate from our trend here. Okay, so if you can see this dark green, we'll call our trend, how far do we depart from that? And now we're talking about just a matter of regression. Okay, so we're a long ways. So at some point we are going to come back. Mean regression is going to have its way at some point in 2024, and we are a long ways right now. Doesn't mean you stand in front of the trend, but we're certainly a long ways. So my overall picture for 2024 is that at some point, because of mean regression, you're going to have at least a 10% correction. From where that will come remains to be seen, but a 10% correction I think is pretty surely in the cards at some point in 2024. Okay, so let me go to my stock from last year, which was Microsoft. Okay. So January 2023 was right here. So pretty obvious why I like Microsoft. Histogram solidly above zero. Oscillator starting to turn up, and we're still, in a pretty good uptrend. So obviously Microsoft was a great pick for last year. So we're going to use the exact same logic to take my pick for 2024 here. My pick for 2024 is Oxy Petroleum. Okay, so here's Oxy, and let's go to a monthly to start off with. Okay, so what do we see here on the monthly chart? Well, you can see we had a sell up here. We've had a lot of red, and this red ended in an acceleration. So I love to see the pattern at the bottom here where we have an acceleration, and then we consolidate. We try to test lower, and then we shoot out of there. Okay, and the shooting out is key because it tests lower and it completely rejects going below here, and it completely rejects it not only by going back into the range but exceeding the range very quickly. You'll see this pattern on all time frames of markets where large decline, consolidation, tries one more go, and then boom. But the boom is the important part, just not the consolidation going at the bottom and coming back in. It's got to go boom. So that's what Oxy's done. So on the monthly chart, you can see now that we've consolidated for over a year in a nice little flag pattern here. And you can see going back here, all the action that's taken place at these prices here. This has been a thick price here, around $60 for Oxy, going back years. Okay, so it's normal place that you would see this consolidation, but the uptrend's real. While we're green, the uptrend's real. We've got the histogram down here at the bottom above zero and ready to turn up on the monthly chart. Okay, the weekly, which for this is the short term. Again, this trend is done. Okay, you can see you got the same pattern here. Bottoms, consolidates, comes out the bottom, doesn't like it, and off she goes. Okay, so this big consolidation, the bigger the consolidation or the bigger the sideways, the bigger the move. So I think that Oxy probably has, it's $57 now. I would say it's got a good 50% move in it. Well, actually, I'm going to say 60 or 70% move. It could get into the 90s, I think, this year, this calendar year, on Occidental Petroleum. Okay, so Oxy, my pick for 2024. Let's briefly look at the interest rate market. Okay, and we're going to do that using the ETF for the long-term bond. Okay, so this is the weekly ETF for the long-term bond market. Okay, so it's still in a downtrend on the weekly, consolidating after coming off the bottom here, but you can see sell signal here, so not bullish yet for sure. On the monthly chart, excuse me again, big downtrend. We've had this real sharp sell-off here, which often marks bottoms, but this trend is really sharply down. If you can see, this blue moving average line here is really sharply down. So what happens on that is it usually needs to flatten that out and gradually turn it up by maybe penetrating it a couple times and coming back through. So what does that tell you? That probably 2024 is going to be some sideways here until we get into the third or fourth quarter, at which point bonds probably have a better chance to rally depending what happens in the third or fourth quarter. But they're not bullish yet, so I wouldn't jump the gun on interest rate cuts too soon in the year, at least by what the bond market's telling me. Okay, so that's it for 2024 and review of 2023, and how I look at things is as much as anything. So if you have any questions, you can contact your rep at FFR and be happy to answer any questions you have. Okay, thanks for listening, guys.